with these situations and how to deal with these trials, tribulations, and definitely there is a hope at the end of the road. So first, I would like to invite Dr. Geetika Nanda. I think she need no introduction. She is as of now additional professor in the Department of General Surgery. And the theme of this session is like we have divided today's session in different segments because once having passed out from Super Specialty Institute, our alumni goes out and settle in the different departments, because as of now there are only countable numbers of dedicated endocrine surgery department or units. And what has been their experience, we have to listen from them, and that would be a guiding force for the current generation young endocrine surgeon. So over to you, Geetika. And this thing, once Geetika finishes her talk, then there would be some invited discussant. And discussion for this session is Dr. Kushagra Gaurav, who is Associate Professor in the Department of General Surgery, King George Medical University. Dr. Nitish unfortunately could not make it for today's session because he's out of station, and Dr. Abhishek Krishna would be joining a bit late. So over to you, Geetika.
Thank you, ma'am. Can and then tell Abhishek Gaurav the part of and then Google.
No.
Thank you, Anjali ma'am, Gaurav sir, Sabha sir, Gyan sir, all the organizers for PGES, and it's a glad to be back home. It's a very emotional moment for me to discuss this particular topic, because this does not include this is not just a topic, it actually includes the journey of my life so far. All the ups and downs that I had in my life, and I'm sure many of others also had, and many of others are also going to have. So before we come to this topic, can I please invite the discussants to come forward? Kushagra and Gunj, can you please come forward for the discussion? So Kushagra is the Associate Professor in the Department of Surgery at KGMU. And Gunj is working as a consultant breast surgeon at UK. So before I start, just a brief of endocrine surgery is a relatively new branch, and its origin dates back to as early as 20th century, when the surgeons considered that the endocrine surgery should be taken as a different specialty rather than being just a part of general surgery. Because in this particular specialty, we are dealing with hormone producing glands, and they need to be managed differently. 20th century also defined some new definitions of diseases and syndromes, where the initial parathyroidectomies were performed in 1918 and 1925 by Sir John Bland Sutton and Felix Mendel. Adrenalectomies for FEO was performed by Kaiser Rooks and Charles Mayo in 1926. And then subsequently the Sept thyroid surgeries were performed. In 1970, the first course of endocrine surgery was started in Hammersmith Hospital, where Otto H. Clark and John Toffman joined as endocrine surgeon and endocrine radiology fellows. International Association of Endocrine Surgeons was formed then, and Selwyn Taylor was its first president. And then for the British Association of Endocrine Surgeons, Sir Richard Wilborn was the first president. Subsequently, in India, we saw the evolution of endocrine surgery when it started in MMC in 1987, followed by PGI, CMC, AIMS New Delhi, KGMU, and then AIMS Patna. I looked at the website of IAS where 559 members are there. Many of them are not active also, but yeah, it enrolls 559 members all over India. And we have a lot of alumni, where the endocrine surgery group includes around 94 participants. So I assume that around 150 endocrine surgery alumni or the students studying should be there. But we do face some challenges when we go out. That we have few faculty positions in various government and non-government hospitals. We have fewer placement opportunities right from the point we pass out from the institute, where we have a beautiful life and we think we are the kings of the world. We have competing interests with many other specialties, including oncosurgeries, ENT, the upcoming head and neck surgery, minimal access surgery, and then general surgery. And sometimes you find it very difficult to develop a niche for yourself. And I'm sure most of you agree with me. All of us have gone through some struggles or the other, I think too many struggles when we passed out. So now where am I discussing? Yeah. So I would now like to involve Kushagra, Gunj, and anybody from the house who is willing to answer my question, who is experienced of working in general surgery, or who has substantially done some work in surgery at some particular point of time. So my first question is, Kushagra, why did you choose the general surgery department? Was it by choice that you joined? After completing your MCH, was it by choice that you joined the general surgery department, or the reasons were something else? Yeah.
No, I am not. The first reason actually was there was no post in endocrine surgery department properly. So officially, since there were no posts, so I applied as a post of in faculty in general surgery. So I got a post there. So plus that was my alma mater. I got my MS, MBBS and MS training from there, from the department. So I joined there in the department of surgery. That was the reason.
And how about you, Gunj? Given an option to come back to India and join the general surgery department, would you like to do it?
I'm still not completely settled there, so it's just been 2 years. So the option of coming back is always there. In fact, it has never been on my mind to settle there permanently. But my journey is slightly different from what that I initially joined in a breast and endocrine unit, set up the unit in a corporate hospital in Bhubaneswar, which is Kalinga Institute of Medical Sciences. And I was there for a year, and Sanjay, who was a passionate of mine, was also there with me for a while. But then COVID happened, and then he moved on to his hometown, and then I moved back to Lucknow, and I joined AIM primarily, which was in a general surgery department. So I think I have taken where destiny has taken me. I moved back to Raebareli because I wanted to be closer to home. I belong to Lucknow, and take my parents, I wanted to come back. But then while all this was happening, I was keen on learning more on plastic breast surgery. Obviously, with a solid foundation that is made when you bring MCH here. I wanted to learn more, so I applied for the fellowship in UK and then got selected. So being in a consultant role happened by chance. I completed my fellowship, and then they offered me the position, and probably too good an offer to refuse at the time. And I have the option of continuing for another year, I think more, but I need to decide things.
So yeah, that is my question. If you want to come back and you want to go back and join at AIIMS Raebareli in the general surgery department, are you still willing to do that?
I prefer, obviously, I'll prefer an endocrine and breast surgery department, but I'll prefer coming back to a place where I can practice the skills that I've learned. I think mentally, for me, it doesn't matter if I'm in general surgery or in a specialty unit. As long as I'm being able to practice the skills that I've learned, I'll be happy with that.
Okay.
Whether it's in
So you don't mind, correct? Okay. So my next question to you, Kushagra, is how do you think you are, or if at all you are not, then you can contribute to general surgery being an endocrine surgeon?
Contribution is certainly there. I feel definitely being an endocrine surgeon, being an alumni of SGPGIMS, what I have learned, all types of endocrine surgery and breast surgery. Then as an undergraduate student, when I realized, I look back myself as undergraduate student and postgraduate. When I was undergraduate and postgraduate, I did not see. I only used to see and learn only good thyroid surgery and breast surgery, mostly MRI. But when I look myself and then I teach my students, I teach them I teach my students endectomy. They also see parathyroidectomy. They have seen insulinoma being operated. So I think that it is very fortunate for undergraduates. It's a very good motivation that they don't have to read only books that theoretically blood pressure ऊपर नीचे होता है. They actually see how it handles the goosebumps. They realize that it is actually that.
Yeah.
So that is motivating.
So you're contributing that way. Sukesh is here. Sukesh is from Kushagra's team, I guess. So I think you're learning a lot of things, a lot of endocrine surgery things because of Kushagra being around. Yeah. Okay. So how do you think you are or you can contribute to endocrine surgery being in general surgery? Now my question changes. How are you contributing to endocrine surgery being in general surgery?
This is a question. Definitely, we have a challenge for this, definitely. But the motivation, I think, that is my greatest. I'm motivating my postgraduates so that they can look up to me at least. If I can motivate out, we have 20 to 21 postgraduate seats now. If I can motivate at least one student to take MCH endocrine surgery in the future, then the job is done. That's what it is.
I'm sure Dalapati sir has something to write regarding this. How can we contribute to endocrine surgery being in general surgery?
So I think Pradeep would be better person to answer that. Dalpati was fortunate enough to join back in endocrine surgery department. So over to you, Pradeep. And then Dr. Gaurav and Professor Paul can contribute.
Of course.
Basically, I think that most of you, when you passed out, started going and looking into that state in the general surgery department where you have been. You didn't look for other way around, like Shagra or who went to their particular general surgery department where they have done MS. But if you look in that way, you cannot go and just create an endocrine surgery department there. The awareness is to come over years. As many people pass out, people with around you will know that there is a specialty called endocrine surgery. And then only that awareness comes, and then only you can build something there. But if you go like this, you go and join general surgery. If you go in general surgery, you probably will not be contributing anything to endocrine surgery. But when they see your surgery something different over the years, not overnight, over the years, some people may start taking this as a specialty because now you have to take some subspecialty afterwards. So everything is saturated. People will think about this subspecialty. But if you go out and look, go towards the private sector or start your own practice, of course you will have a struggle, and then from that struggle you have to build up.
Yeah.
Don't think that you can make it in over a period of 6 months or 1 year. It took me many years.
Yes, so I think we can contribute by motivating the residents, by showing them the kind of work that we are doing, by having the academic discussions, and then I think motivating them to take endocrine surgery as a career, if I'm right.
Being in private also.
Yes, the private discussions we are doing later.
Even then, you can actually go into the IMA forums and other forums and start discussing this thing.
Correct,
And then everything opens up.
correct. So what are the challenges that are often faced in surgery? Maybe Gunj, you can also answer, because some part of
Can I? It's an important question. That's why I feel
Sure.
compelled to contribute to it.
yes,
To my mind, somebody who's working in general surgery, especially in academic institution, can make more contribution to endocrine surgery than a faculty in endocrine surgery. Why do I say that? And I mean, this got emerged out of my own belief that you have to be patient, gradually, eventually, you will all kind of. And I can recollect some 50 odd relatively junior surgeons whom I may have talked to about this issue. Not only our alumni, but others too. Even just two minutes ago, at least 2 of our alumni came out and said that for now, we realize what you said was correct. You have to be patient. Most of us are saying. How you can make contribution to endocrine surgery? I am aware what Kushal has published, you have published, you've been presenting in various meetings, general surgery meetings or endocrine surgery meetings. So it is apparent that with some bit of training, you can contribute to endocrine surgery. It doesn't matter whether you are working in a specialized unit or department or.
thank you, sir. Yes, sure.
Call them the yeah.
Actually, if you take your surgery department, 10 years back and now, the percentage of thyroid surgery has drastically come down in general surgery. More the number of post-graduates are also there. So the number of opportunities to even witness thyroid surgery in general surgery department is too low compared to 10 years or 15 years back when we were MSc. So they keep coming to endocrine surgery if they want to learn thyroid surgery. General surgery now they have so much of letting of surgery, and the number of cases also has drastically come down, and they are not confident. That is the truth. General surgery who has passed out, majority of the majority of the MS general surgeons who are passing out of late, they are not confident to do it.
Correct.
If I understand the purpose of the discussion is that a person who has done a super specialty, which is middle course of which is a general surgery, should not go back to the general surgery and should stick only to the super specialty. That is the purpose probably, that once somebody has done a super specialty, should not go back one backward step and they should continue with that super specialty. But that is not possible. So somewhere one has to create a place for themselves when there is a wider, because general surgery departments are there, and then I am a urologist. But then there are so many urologists in the country who are working in the general surgery department, and they are creating a space. Once the department expands, then there will be only one unit will be given exclusively to urology. Similar thing will happen because there are not so many endocrinology, awareness is not there. Today there is an endocrine surgery super specialty. Tomorrow there will be MCH in thyroid surgery. There won't be even other things. Only thyroid surgery people will have one super specialty will be there. So like that, but then then those people will work in endocrine surgery department, and then after they will develop the thyroid surgery unit. So that is what my say.
Okay, got your point, sir.
That's every one of them in a song, every one of you can contribute being in general surgery department. Before I joined this department, I never saw parathyroid. Just I saw my consultant doing thyroid surgery. There used to be a lot of blood. When I came here, then
I saw all specialized, recurrent division now. The people who are working in general surgery department, they can spread endocrine surgery by teaching, by showing parasite to the students, recurrent division now, or superior laryngeal. So so obviously thyroid persons are different. I didn't know anything before coming to this institute. But when I learned surgery from Mishraji, when I used to operate in Hyderabad, most of the consultants were from PGES. अरे ये तो कटारिया से तो ऑफिस करते because कटारिया sir is Mishraji's teacher. So how to tie knot? Mishraji taught me the needle holder when you are holding. यहाँ मत पकड़ो from here. So there will be no force. So all these things, how to cut with the scissors. So your technique will be 100% different from the other journalists. So by teaching, by showing to students, you can always prove yourself that this man is different in thyroid surgery compared to the other. So teaching is one way, because when I do only endocrine surgery. So when I present in some conference, most of small year students, they come, madam, we also want to go for endocrine surgery. So then I tell them, you cannot earn bread and butter for your family. I am successful because my husband is astrologer. So most of the money comes from there. Very happy, I mean it. I have already thyroid for 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees. Still I do that. If poor patients come and say, our hospital का pay कर दो, I'm in a corporate hospital. And I do my surgery. So like that we can. But idea of there is no option left but to join general surgery department. There also with your work you can promote.
Thank
So
you,
I
ma'am.
think Dr. Paul can add because he has been part of the transition from general
Just to give
surgery.
I think overall, we all have to think of ourselves as general surgeons, and then we all have a focus area. So depending on the situation, the degree will vary, the type of training will vary. So in the past, everybody was general surgeon. We chose one, what people call subspecialty area. The problem happened, we started calling it
Super specialty. Correct.
exactly, or subspecialties. I think that has to be a thinking change, that we should call it subspecialty. Therefore, you don't de-recognize the level of general surgeon. So every surgeon is a general surgeon with a subspecialty interest. Now you may take your interest to varying levels depending on your situation and your opportunity. It may be just going and attending workshops and courses. It may be going for a fellowship in your short fellowship. It may be going for a degree. So any of these options. So think of it, if you've done MCS endocrine surgery, you're a general surgeon who has subspecialized in endocrine surgery. You may have got an MCS degree, but that is actually not the main issue. You've got a focus area. But retain your general surgery interest, and wherever you go, you will find yourself useful.
After that, you are going to the you will really feel your cognitive is to lose that case. And as a patient, I was scared because like 3 years you are working in another perspective, and suddenly, even though you are a nurse, you can be doing average job. But as a patient, I want a perfect job. I think what is your take on
Yeah, the problem that has happened is the duration of general surgery consolidation has reduced, because to clear the competitive exam, you have to go straight in to try the exam. That has what has changed. See, from our generation, all of us were very grounded in general surgery before we took on the subspecialty. Actually, I would really encourage the system to make sure that you take in the candidate and say that to have minimum say 3 years of general surgery experience. That will make a huge difference. Now, because of the focus on the exam, the whole training system has got affected. I think that is unfortunate but true. And I really don't know how we can get around that as surgeons, because the only other way is to say, okay, forget the degree, I'll get my training through a fellowship or through just exposure. You can get trained under somebody just without a degree. And it takes more time to make your name. I agree. MCS attracts certain
category of patients, but not everybody. Ultimately, a doctor is known through his other patients. If you treat 10 people well, they'll bring another 10 people to you. That's how actually medical system is supposed to work.
Absolutely agree with you, sir. I think because we have already finished our time, ma'am, we will have to stop the discussion. And there were a few more questions, ma'am. Can I ask this just last
So
question?
I think we can take it during dinner time. So this session has served its purpose and it has provoked the kind of discussion we would like to have. And I would really like to thank Geetika from the bottom of my heart that she took time out for initiating this discussion. And also my thanks to Pradeep, Dalpati, Gunj, Kushal, and of course, Sir, Professor Ojha, Dr. Paul, Gaurav, and Dr. Sangeeta. Thank you.
And this is the concluding remark that I had put. Ma'am, just 1 minute. I put this. So I put this song just to be, because life always has ups and downs. Everyone goes through struggles, whatever speciality and whatever side of the career we choose. But nonetheless, we should try to be happy in whatever we have and try to utilize it maximally to give the best outputs. Thank you. Thank you.
Our next session will be endocrine surgeons in surgical oncology. Calling to the dais, our chairperson, Dr. Manish Prakash.
Manish Kaushal. Manish Kaushal.
Dr. Manish Kaushal. Dr. Mukta Bakshi. And request Dr. Anish Cheriel if he could join us on the dais.
So as we know that some of our alumni after passing out have settled in surgical oncology unit. Just because this thing we had been the major part of our endocrine surgery consisted of dealing with thyroid cancer. And in addition, we had also been dealing with breast cancer. So one of such alumni is Dr. Chitresh, and I invite him to share his experience. How has he created his space in surgical oncology department? So over to you, Chitresh. And discussant for this session would be Dr. Ramya, Dr. Vishwak Shankar, and Dr. Dilip.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, my all teachers and my colleagues. So thank you for inviting me. So my 50% job has been over by Dr. Geetika, because now we have to just think about changing the general surgery to the surgical oncology. So I'll not take any moral grounds here. So it is the only association where this kind of session is needed. I don't think any other association would need this kind of session. So there are stories of, two kind of stories. I joined AIMS New Delhi in general surgery department. I applied there. I could not find a place. Then I moved to surgical oncology. At that time, I was welcomed. I was lucky enough to be welcomed by them. And after I joined surgical oncology, same happened with surgical oncology also. They created their rules. Now we are not eligible in surgical oncology. And some time after, general surgeon will also feel offended that why our things are taken by the endocrine surgeon. So this is the story, current story. And this was happened by one of my colleagues. He applied in PGI Chandigarh in general surgery department. His form was rejected because you don't have the general surgery experience. For senior residency, it is a hard fact. So on a lighter note, endocrine surgeon in a surgical oncology is like a 50 years old single malt scotch in a wine glass. So people are confused what kind of cocktail it is. So I'm an endocrine surgeon working in a surgical oncology department. I'm fortunate that I'm the only faculty there, so there is nobody to hate, to blast, question. But if it would have been on other side, there must be two seniors, two juniors, two colleagues. The story would be a different one. No problem. So my discussion will keep around these questions. So my first question is, if we think, do you think that endocrine surgery has no future? That is why we are moving out, particularly in surgical oncology. Dr. Ramesh.
No, sir, on the contrary, I think I am the one who actually took a seat in surgical oncology. I didn't apply for Tata, but I joined PGES and I was excited to ask the 200. But I actually worked there for a few days. I know it's very, it's not valid that I just worked for a few days and decided, but logically, I felt that surgical oncology is not a specialization. So we are surgeons, we operate an organ. So there is no surgical benignology. So when I was working there, I saw the rotation, 3 months in this, 3 months in that. And I was like, I came here to specialize. And then what would I learn? Really be specialist in 3 months. So actually it was there on my mind before also. But I did my understone paper. Our HOD said you will not get a job. There is no respect for endocrine surgery. Don't join. But I followed my heart. I left the seat. I took as soon as the SGPGIMS thing showed up in round 2. When I wrote needs, please show up in round 1. So I shifted to endocrine surgery, and many discouraged me, saying you're not going to have a future. But I'm very, very confident that future is mine, and I do not know whether the branch is going to shine or not, but I will shine because I believe in this branch and I believe in this training. That's what I'm saying.
So this I 100% agree with you, and all the participants sitting in this hall, if would agree with this. So even saying that, somebody can think in other ways. The surgical oncologist is more recognized, is more charming branch. So Dr. Vishwa, do you think the surgical oncology is more recognized? That is why we are moving to surgical oncology. Yeah, we should move towards surgical oncology.
No, this endocrine surgery field still has witnessed a significant advancement in the surgical technique, minimally invasive robotic, which has achieved a good oncological outcome with shortened time. We are at par in excellence in the surgical oncology. In fact, we are more excellent oncologists. And definitely there are more number of surgical oncology disciplines across the country. That is why that surgical oncology discipline is more recognized compared to us. But indeed, as we have seen, Professor Gaurav has put in his annual report, there is an increasing incidence of endocrine disorders across the years. So that's what we have seen in the annual report. So we have definitely the demand for an endocrine surgeon, for a specialized surgeon for an expectation care is increasing. Obviously, we will be recognized in the future years.
So thank you, Dr. Vishwa. So I do agree with you, and I have not joined the surgical oncology by choice. To clarify, I always wanted to join endocrine surgery, but there was no place. So the second alternative was general surgery. I could not get in. That is why I happened to be in the surgical oncology. So this is for me by chance. So my third point was by chance only. So this is for me by chance. I am in surgical oncology by chance. And today also, if I get a chance to be in endocrine surgery, I will be more than happy to join endocrine surgery. And any other reason or any other thought, any audience want to make it? Yes. Mukta ma'am, Manisha, Dr. Anis, anybody can. Yes.
Hello. Yeah, so right, currently working in Tata. So I've seen
all the branches there. They call them DMPs, these management groups. Where the breast is separate, the NNS is separate, the thoracic is separate, the TA is separate. So gynec is done by MCS gynec also. NNS is done by MCS NNS. Breast is done by MCS oncology or breast news. And so they are all individual organ specialists. Whereas your surgical oncology is just another general surgical oncology, an extension of general surgery is what I feel, because they're only doing 3 months per rotation, and they end up after 3 years doing another specialization. So we are more specialized surgeons than is what I feel. After 3 years, I really feel proud of myself to be a endocrine surgeon. Yeah, I did have my doubts of what will I be, where will I get a job, how will I take care of my family. And at the end, I feel really lucky to have come out of this institute, and I'm really proud of having done endocrine surgery.
Thank you, Dr. Hossein.
Can I add just one point? Yes, yes. Actually, the hiccups are basically ego-driven, money-driven. I mean, it's not about whether you are skilled or not, whether you can perform surgery or not. In corporate hospitals, everybody has to survive. Everybody is after money. Everybody is after fame, and to build their practice. That's why they bring up all these petty issues that in your degree this is not written, in your degree this is not written. I think they're all very petty human issues. It's not about asking about your skill. That's what I understood.
Yeah, Dr. Chitresh, actually, I work in the general surgery department since last 21 years. And after finishing my tenure, so we are the fortune, we are working in the government sector, along with which we are also permitted to do the private sector. So when the surgical oncology part is better, actually in private patients, when the patient comes to us as a benign breast disease or benign thyroid disorder, everything is okay. But once the patient is diagnosed with case of the American, so our surgical oncologists, those who are working in the private practice, they always assume they are superior because they are surgical oncologists. But I told you, actually, my opinion is that if any alumni member of the SGPGI or an endocrine surgeon always do better surgery than any other surgical oncologist. In my practice initial days, we have a very minimum work. Even I couldn't have any 1 or 2 thyroid in a month. But because of your persistently, if you are doing your own selective work, like thyroid or breast, whatever you want to do, but focus only selected work, then you have get the more number of cases. So today we roughly I operated around 400 cases thyroid in a year, around 400 breast cases in a year. So because that is the only thing for the persistence. So initially you face the problem from the surgical oncologist in practice, private practice. That is the matter.
So
Now maybe I'll give you some perspective in the periphery, then in the medical college, then in the corporate. Okay. In periphery, your surgical endocrine practice will be immensely useful. As not many surgeons are trained, and if you are a very good surgeon, and obviously there's no doubt in SGPGI, you are one of the best institutes who teach you best surgery there for endocrine specialists. So you will be very good in periphery, and I think you will get a name and fame for yourself. In medical college, yes, you will have to compete with some of your colleagues, but it is okay because there are many patients, and most of the time, many doctors are not interested in doing this thing. So sometimes somebody is interested in something, then okay, he will take over that. Like Manish said, if you are doing consistently in one field, then obviously you are very well recognized. There is no problem. In corporate world and in private sector. In corporate world, it is, as she said, it's altogether different thing. There, if you will tell, I will agree with Paul, that you are not a super specialist. None of us are super specialists, not only surgical endocrine or urologist, you are a subspecialty of a general surgeon. As soon as you tell you are a super specialist, you upgrade yourself and you the other general surgeons feel threatened. They feel, oh, this is a super specialist. So it hurts their ego as well. So you are a subspecialty, yes. We have been more trained in certain parts. This is one. Another problem in corporate comes when, because it is anatomical divisions there, head and neck, thoracic, GI. So sometimes it is very difficult for us as an endocrine surgeon to tell where we fit. We are not fitting anywhere as a specialty, right? So we have to find our way where we are, in which part we want to deal with. I have done 4 years of general surgery before coming to endocrine surgery, in which I learned many subspecialties. I worked in many subspecialties. Later, I went to medical college and all those things. But the final thing, I am now in corporate world and a private practice. So here, yes, not everybody will allow you. Everybody, whatever case will come, everybody will want to do. So you have to prove your work excellence there. Okay, I am good. You may not give me that case, but yes, one case you will do, 2 cases you will do, 3 cases you will do. Automatically patients come. But some hospitals are difficult because they won't take you because you are not MCS or something else. So this is the scenario in all. But yes, in a surgical oncology, if you are there, it is easier to establish yourself and obviously to sustain yourself in private.
Anish, you have recently returned from overseas fellowship, so that the concept is entirely different as compared to our MCS system. So could you add on this thing, this discussion? What I'm feeling is like, as such in surgery, everything is volume driven. We perform in a particular area, then our results improve. I can give you example of one thing, like in our at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, adrenals are being taken care of by urologists. But since inception in our institute, those cases are referred to us. Even urologists refer those cases to us. So at the end of the day, I think essence is key. You train in a particular area, and for a surgeon, the volume matters. So I think that we would like to hear from you.
Thank you. It's, so I trained in Bangalore, 2 years general surgery, and then post general surgery, and then the specialty, and then about 5 or 6 years in the specialty as a consultant, and then went to Australia for fellowship. And like you said, training there is very different. It was like what we were doing in Bangalore, where it is a subspecialty, and endocrine surgery is a subspecialty. Their general surgery training is for 6 years. So the training is as such, by the time they finish, they are almost equivalent to our junior consultant general surgeon. And then they need to do a 2-year fellowship to be a consultant in endocrine surgery. But I think to answer the questions here, I think definitely there is a future in endocrine surgery. It's just that there is a lot of overlap in India between multiple specialties. I think the centers that are there for training are excellent. And once you come out of any of these centers, you're as good as anybody world over. It's just that you just need to be persistent because the opportunities are less right now. Wherever you get in, you just have to be persistent, show the quality of work that you're trained for. And like Dr. Paul said, the work that you do, the patients that you treat, they will bring you more patients. So I think it's just a matter of being a bit persistent and it will come.
But to your situation, I would request you to wind up the session because they are
Yes.
pressing the
So
button.
because of the paucity of time, we'll stop there. So this session especially is just to make you clear that joining apart from the endocrine surgery, being in a general surgery or surgical oncology, where we should go. So we should go into the general surgery or surgical oncology. So I can tell you that in surgical oncology, you're not going to be welcomed. So in my perspective, better you join the general surgery, keep your good work, time will come, then even the general surgery department, you have a good recognition. And in KGMU, it's a different scenario because there already general surgery department is there. So rest all in medical college, there is a chance. Sooner or later, you will have create your unit or department. So it's better to go in your parent team. That means the general surgery rather than surgical oncology, because in surgical oncology there's a lot of other kind of rifts and egos, and this is they'll never welcome you. So the thing is, I'm endocrine surgeon. I'll not put myself as a surgical oncologist. I'm a proud endocrine surgeon, and I will be. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Vishwa. During dinner. Thank you all.
Our next session will be on establishing endocrine subspecialty in general surgery. Calling on to the dais, our chairpersons, Dr. Ranjit Sukumar and Dr. Divya Dahiya.
Dr. Pooja.
And Dr. Pooja Ramakant, ma'am.
So I think like as we are progressing in this journey, so we are progressing towards establishing a separate unit or department. So we are lucky to have with us our own alumnus, Dr. Chandan Jha. Chandan, are you there? Yeah, who is at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Patna, and he has been at least on paper successful. I don't know how much he has progressed since then in establishing a endocrine surgery department. He initially joined as assistant professor in general surgery. So over to you, Chandan. And discussant in this session would be Dr. Himankri Rao and Dr. Shalik Moidu. Please.
What are the discussions? Where are the discussions?
Shalik and Himankri Rao.
Okay. So one small correction in what Anjali ma'am said. I started as a SR in general surgery at AIIMS Patna. But 6 years have passed. I'm still an assistant professor. So that should tell you the struggles we face. But we have, a lot of us have talked about the struggle. That is a never-ending story. What I want to discuss is primarily directed at my budding endocrine surgeons, because they are the ones who need to think on these lines. We will never have enough departments of endocrine surgery unless all of us go to government setups and at least try to start a department. But there are disadvantages. You will never become rich if you go to a government institute. That is one issue. So let us see few things which I think can help you in deciding your future career choices. The problem starts with this. How would you get in? If there are no departments of endocrine surgery, you will have to apply in department of general surgery. And even there, you won't be preferred. You won't be the preferred option. They will prefer a general surgeon who has basic training and experience in general surgery. This may sound interesting, but things have changed over last few years, at least last 4 or 5 years. 19 All India Institute of Medical Sciences have been operational in last few years, and 5 more are upcoming. So that creates an avenue for all of us. All India Institute of Medical Science, at least they have some standard in selecting the faculty, not like a state government. So they want good faculty members. They want people who are properly trained, who can conduct research, who can teach students. And there you will get an advantage over others. In fact, among all of us, among the alumni of SGPGI, those whom I know, at least 3 to 4 of us have applied for these positions in Department of General Surgery at various aims. And luckily, all of them have got selected. So that is one good thing. So the biggest job opportunity for those who want to enter the government setup is the upcoming aims. And of course, AIIMS Delhi, if you get a chance to. The other issue is that these institutes, they might be budding institutes, but they have little infrastructure limitation. So if you go there, things can come up rather quickly than other state government hospitals. Even clearing the interview in today's era, I won't say it is like entrance exam. We all know how interviews goes in this era, but maybe one of us or few of us might not get selected, but just because of your training and the repute of your teachers and your institute, most of us should be able to get through these interviews. Do I have any experience where anybody has appeared for an interview in Department of General Surgery and they have not been selected? Anyone in the house? Okay, so we have few of us, but then but then most of us, they have been selected. I know, I can name them. I was selected, I was selected actually twice, one on contract and other permanent. Dr. Gunj was selected, Dr. Sanjay was selected. Dr. Sanjay also got selected twice. He was selected at AIIMS Nagpur, but he didn't stay there. He came back to Jabalpur. He was selected. Dr. Rashid was selected. Dr. Chitresh aimed for a post in Department of General Surgery, AIIMS Delhi. Maybe his aim was too high. That is what I can say. Sorry. Yeah, sure.
So if you permit me to butt in here, you just asked the question who were not selected. You know why the panelists told me that I was overqualified, and they asked me why I applied. Coming back to these were the general surgeon who was there in the department, who was the interview. And I'm not sure what was in his mind, but he seemed to sort of insinuate that there was a little bit of an ego issue, saying that somebody has one more degree than the general surgeon, so they had a problem with me applying. And that was the reason that they right away said, why did you apply? You are overqualified.
Sir,
So then
after I will stop.
After that, I'm not done with. And then I was put in a waiting list, and then the waiting list moved. And then they asked me later if I would like to join the department. By when I had already made a decision, I did not end up joining the department, which sort of rejected me at first. Probably if I had joined the department, as many of us have discussed this, there would certainly have been, like what Chitresh said, there would have been a clash of egos. Naturally, this comes, we're all people with our.
I think we should end this topic with just one sentence. How many institutes in India you know by heart will select only the best? You all know the answer.
Would you like me to write?
We should continue. Okay, so the other issue that we have in front of us when we pass out from our institutes, we have learned a lot of things, is whether you will be able to practice your art. And by art, I do not mean doing hemithyroidectomy and modified radical mastectomy. The average skill level of an endocrine surgeon passing from SGPGI or CMC value or now KGMC is much above that. So those of us who start in general surgery department, do you actually get opportunity to practice your art? Do you get advanced malignancies, retroesternal goiter? Are you allowed to practice endoscopic thyroid surgery? Pooja ma'am?
I think Divya ma'am is a better person to answer because she's
Yes. Yeah.
an endocrine surgery, so obviously.
Of course, you had everything.
But I think when I was in CSC, whether I joined in general surgery department, then also we had the freedom to do. And it's a teamwork. If you need somebody's help, you can obviously collaborate.
So Divya ma'am, maybe you can take this question.
I don't agree with you that we cannot practice. If you are competent enough to do a surgery, no one stops you.
Okay, thank you. That means brings me to a very interesting point. You see this, when I joined AIMS Patna, I started doing endoscopic thyroid surgery. I did the first procedure. Patient was fine. He was discharged. My anesthetist actually went to the director and he informed the director. He said, no, very good. He called me, congratulated me. He gave all the inputs that this should be published in newspapers because it was first time anybody has done that in Bihar. This was published. Next day I was asked by my HOD to meet him. I went there and he asked me, do you think this procedure was cost effective? What do you mean, sir? Sorry. So he informed me that the harmonic you used actually has broken down. So you should not do such procedures. Thank you. So I have been lucky in few things. One of those is that I always got patient, interesting cases, which kept me busy. Otherwise, there will be always challenges when you are working in department of general surgery. I work in an institute, even Pooja ma'am, you also work in KGMT. There are departments, there is ENT department, surgical oncology, urology, general surgery, and of course, endocrine surgery. No, you are not the right person. Kushag, are you there? Gitika ma'am? Nobody. Okay, so is it possible that if you are working in such a hospital in department of general surgery, will you be actually be able to do retroperitoneoscopic adrenalectomies, laparoscopic adrenalectomies? How frequently will you be doing that?
Chandra, I think Tushar and Deepika may have left, but they are also in parallel doing these surgeries. They are doing, I think, more endoscopic than us. Because of the volume of our load and limited OT slots, we are not able to do more endoscopic thyroidectomy. But they have more OTs because general surgery has a maximum OT slot. So they have more in their unit. Maybe the number of patient load per year may be less, but they have the freedom to do.
They have the freedom to do, but how are they going to get the patient? Kushag, yes, Kushag, please.
Definitely, sir. We have got actually that is what I feel that is more dependent on the head of unit.
Yes.
How do they cater you?
They can.
My head of department, head of the unit is very supportive. He allows me whatever I whenever.
Another thing is it's more of collaboration if we put down our egos. Now urologists call me for difficult adrenal surgery. They tell and discuss the patient, and if I have difficulties, I discuss with them or surgical oncologist and keep them on board. So there's no ego issue that if the adrenal is my field or your field. Okay, whoever is managing, we go and work together.
So there lies the message. There lies the message. You cannot and you should never claim that you are going to do this surgery. In AIMS, and it has started from AIMS Delhi itself. Everybody is allowed to do anything. Nobody is, I think, if I can do a cardiac surgery, I don't think anybody was opposed. That is how things work. Neither a urologist stops you doing from adrenalectomy, nor you stop them from doing. In fact, I should tell you, by default, every patient who has a thyroid nodule will be registered under ENT in my hospital. They will filter out small nodules where they can do hemithyroidectomy, and then they will refer them to me. Yeah, I only have to do one case per OT. Cases are usually that difficult. So that is how things work. My HOD will be on my head that you should never go to ENT OT to help them if they call you. I occasionally have to, but that might be a good thing looking at the number of endocrine surgeons are passing and the number of ENT surgeons will pass. We just cannot give them our platform and teach them everything. That would be bad ultimately for the endocrine surgical fraternity. But if I start doing it, it will be very detrimental for me. So somehow I have to have a working relationship with them. Okay. So let us move further.
Ranjit also had joined in general surgery. He can also contribute. He also had initial work of pickup.
I have 2-3 more questions. So when I was here, I was introduced to oncoplastic breast surgery, especially by Gaurav sir and other faculty members. But of course, this is something nobody can teach you the whole gamut of it. You have to improvise, improve upon yourself. Some of the procedures which I had never seen during my training, I try to learn them, practice them, and that is the beauty of general surgery. There, because you get different sort of patients, so you can learn, and when you are learning, you have other people around you who are learning with you. So learning becomes very easy. Ranjit sir, regarding breast surgery in general surgery. Breast surgery is something which I don't do. So sorry. So many of us were able to decide what they like more, endocrine surgery or breast surgery. I was one of those unfortunate persons who couldn't decide what I like more. So I am busy doing both. Okay, so again, I will put forward this question to Pooja ma'am. Breast surgery, when we are performing in an endocrine surgery setup, you have all the luxuries. You want to, there is only one focus, to get the best result. When we come to general surgery, because of the long list of patients, we have to try and save some time as well. So what should be the goal? Whether we should only focus on what is best for the patient or what is best for the community? Because if I save time, I save time for others.
It is a balance. If you keep running behind the number of patients, then you can't give the best output to a particular one patient if you want to. So I think keep doing that work, but ensure that once in a week or once in 2 weeks, at least do one oncoplasty or one good, whatever reconstruction or endoscopy you want to do. So have a balance. The moment you increase your OT slots, you can gradually increase, and with time and practice, your OT number of hours also come down. Operating time also increases. If you don't do, then it's a loss for everybody.
I feel that, as Pooja said, that quality of our surgery, that should be the priority, not the number of cases which you do. Because if you do, I was a surgeon who initially used to operate 4 cases, 4 thyroidectomies per day. It actually tires you out. By the end of the day, you are tired, totally dead tired. You cannot do anything at home. So, is it worth sacrificing your family life for all this? You have to balance. So, do few cases, give quality work, that will speak. If you put out quality work, there are people who are observing. Even if surgeons, they talk bad behind and bad in front of you, they will bring their own relatives to you if they want to get operated. So finally, and nurses are saying, or OT technicians are saying, all of them are saying what you're doing and what good work you're putting out. So finally, it all falls in your favor rather than just operating too many cases and creating complications and all that. It's not worth it. So I think the quality should be the general surgeons for operating 10 cases, they will serve the community. Community load. We are here to deliver the quality.
Okay. Thank you, Ranjit sir. Salik, Dr. Salik, you have been at RML for some time. Recently, you have been joined by Professor. Okay. Ever seen an insulinoma there? Any pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor?
Yeah, they have posted 2 insulinoma.
After the joining of Mishra sir. So somehow all insulinomas they get to Mishra sir.
You need an awesome, powerful, dedicated person.
I luckily got one, operated that patient. So not many of us will get these cases, at least during our initial years. Now, the essence of this topic was...
Even the pattern of preference will change. Initially, in the initial part of my practice, I used to get thyroid, lot of adrenal. Probably I was one of the person who operated the maximum number of adrenals at that point of time. Then by around 2016-17, people started recognizing as thyroid surgeon, parathyroid surgeon. The number of adrenals started coming down. Now I think this year I operated 2. That's all. So 2 adrenals. So this also happens. So, but but you don't have to worry about that. You are being more specialized and focused. You are doing a good work.
That is one way of looking at it. But now let us come to the essence of this topic that we were discussing. How to start a department? Frankly speaking, I do not know. Nobody knows. Maybe if Anand Mishra sir had been here, he would have shed some light. Actually, we have a big hierarchy, and the youngest member is you. Everybody else in the institute is senior to you. There is just, and when you join these government setups, you are not an endocrine surgeon. That is not your first identity. You are just an assistant professor. So you have to basically beg from door to door and hope that somebody someday listens. In fact, that is the plain truth. अमीर नहीं हो सकते, इसके अलावा एक और शक्ति ये है कि demotivate नहीं हो सकते. People will try to discourage you. They will dig up holes. You just have to keep filling them. Keep working. Our work should be our identity. 5 of the departments do operate on thyroid surgery in any institute, but I can bet you any faculty member of that institute will come to an endocrine surgeon to get himself, herself, or their family members operated. Teaching, it has been discussed already on length. What I believe is, when I teach a UG class of 150 students, I deliver a message to 150 future physicians. They will know what endocrine surgery means. And of course, teaching PG, we all do what we can do to give them a broader knowledge of what endocrine surgery is. I always insist that they should at least do partially some of the procedures. Some who do well, they do it. And research and publication, that is another important factor. We have to focus on it. We cannot move away. As an assistant professor, कोई सुनने वाला नहीं है हमारी बात, लेकिन ये research and publication है जो गवाही देगा हमारी. They gave me this best best faculty in surgical disciplines award this year. But they won't give me a department. My department was approved by the institute body, by the governing body in January 2023, this year. And it was all done by the same person who has done nothing since then. I met him, he asked me to wait. What can I do? I have to wait. The HOD, my head, who forwarded my application, when director talked to him personally, he said, no, he should not get a department, you give him a unit. So this is how things work. This is how things will work, unless you become a professor. So if you, no, don't laugh. This is the truth. If you get into this, thinking that you will get a department in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, no, don't go. You are wasting your time there. You have to be a professor to get things moving. That is what I assume. Sometimes things can happen. For me, it has happened 2 or 3 times. And for me, the God was always Professor Mishra. Even my interview, he was there, and he has been a constant support. Even when this time when I was trying to draft a proposal to present to my IB and GV, Gaurav sir called me. He gave me his tips, and we discussed at length what I can do, what I should not do. There are NMC regulations, there are issues with the naming of the department, all those things. And finally, what he said, I did that, got the approval. Hopefully, if I have spent 6 years and kept going, I should be able to continue for a few more years till they create at least 1 department in Bihar. Thank you all.
So thank you, Chandan. You are assistant professor of endocrine surgery today. So hopefully down the line you will be associate and additional and professor in endocrine surgery only. So that road is not this thing very fast.
I think Patna will be the first thing. Even really don't have a endocrine surgery department. So
I think
Probably my director needs to listen to you.
so there are
very much interested in doing first thing in India. Every day he announces one first thing in India. He has started 6-year MCS course in GI surgery, first time in India. First 6-year CCBS MCS course, first time in India.
So, but that is hope for our future generation, that wherever they go, they should try to exploit that sentiment also. So if your director is interested in creating first, you would be first to create Department of Endocrine Surgery. Thank you very much, Chandan. You have not lost your touch despite whatever you said. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next session will be survival in the corporate world. Calling to the dais the chairpersons, Dr. Prateek Mehrotra, Dr. Dipendra, and Dr. Sunil Barwa.
So, thank you. Moving ahead. So I think Ritesh needs no introduction. So I'm not going to introduce him. So calling other discussants on the dais, Dr. Naval Bansal, Dr. Om Prakash Prajapati, Dr. Ashwini, and unfortunately Vikram and Sunil Mattu could not join us. So Dr. Ritesh is another success story, I would say. A youngster should listen to him. Over to you, Ritesh.
So now we are coming forward from the institutional practice, from a fixed job to private practice. मजबूरी में हम वो लोग हैं जो डेली वॉक होते हैं, जितना पानी निकलता है उतना ही पीने को मिलता है. अपनी अपनी समझ की बात है, अपनी अपनी सोच का असर है. कोई हमारी जगह पे रह के तो देखे. So thank you so much, ma'am. Especially I am very much thankful to Anjali ma'am for giving me this topic. I am thankful to my Department of Endocrine Surgery who has made me what I am today. I always tell that I am a proud alumnus of SGPGI. It is very difficult to survive in a corporate world. Very, very difficult. What is a corporate world? A corporate hospital, basically one should understand the management. There are some owners, or it belongs to some trust board or some chairman. He gives management of a corporate hospital to some CEOs, director or superintendent. They appoint doctors, consultants. Consultants are of two types, either full-timers or visiting. It is not like a government job. Full-timers are given fixed salary, and visiting consultants bring the patients or come and do the interventions or see the patients, and they get their own share as per the patient's numbers. Support staff like residents, paramedical and office staff are being appointed by the corporate hospital. So Dr. Naval, shall I ask you one question? What do you think? A full-timer system is a better, or a visiting consultant is a better in a corporate hospital? What are your views in this?
For initial years, if some corporate is taking full-timer, they'll do full-time promotion. The things become slightly better, but after a few years, I think so it's equal. Either you will be visiting or part-time. It's not difference. There is not much of difference. But initially, definitely full-timers are always better.
I agree with you, Naval, because whenever a newcomer is there, like me, like anyone, after doing MCH or after doing the completion of the training, they are just bare alone in the world. They have to do everything on their own. When I came to Mumbai, I didn't know anyone, any single person. Somehow, with God's grace and with luck, so slowly and slowly, I got attachment. I got attachment at Bombay Hospital, which was one of the prime hospital in India. Then one day, after 2 or 3 months only, I got a call from PT Hinduja. PT Hinduja is a very well-known hospital across India. The whole board was sitting. Everyone was very much insisting me to join as a full-time consultant. They were ready to offer me all the facilities, whatever I wanted at whatever the time of the day, but they wanted me as a full-timer. At that time, I was just a beginner. I didn't have any money, not much practice. I was in too much pressure, too much tension, but I had denied that thing. It was a big thing. I also sometimes think it was a big thing, very horrible decision at that time, but later on it proved to be correct. So never become a full-timer under a corporate, because they will develop their own name or at lieu of your name. They will not promote you at the end. They will promote themselves only, and they will bring your competitor anytime if they see that you are not working properly, if you are a full timer. Huge expectations of a management in a corporate hospital from their consultants. Consultants should bring the patients, they should bring the revenue, they should do the best treatment. See, corporates thrive on their reputations. Like in Mumbai, the corporate hospitals are thriving on their reputations. Breach Handy, Leelavati, Bombay Hospital, Sethi, Jaslok, they are just thriving on their reputations. People across India or world just know their name, and this name is not built in a single day. So they want the best treatment. And best treatment भी करना है, सस्ता भी करना है, patients and relatives should be happy. There should be no complaints. There should be no bad name. And you should not become a liability to the hospital. Suppose if you fall sick, nobody will like to treat you. It's also a bare truth. They will not want, they don't want to waste their money on yourself. Corporate hospitals have a lot of resources. They know each and everything about their own doctors. They are very vigilant. They have their separate corporate hospital groups where they discuss each other, the management discuss each other, senior management. They have a very good feedback system. As soon as the patient is admitted, they give them the feedback system that how is your treatment, how your doctor is behaving, has anyone committed something bad or something this or that. So they know each and everything. Though they don't tell this to doctor, but they know each and everything. And plus, their social media teams are very, very powerful. They have a huge social media presence also. But there's a heavy pressure on management also, because we have to deal VIP patients. Regularly, we get celebrities, stars, and patients from industries, officers, ministers, and whatnot. So there's a huge pressure on management how to deal with them and how to keep them happy. There's also workers' unions. That is also very big issue in the corporate hospitals. You cannot go against the workers' unions, and you have to deal with them very politely. Maintenance as well as upgradation of the infrastructure is also a big problem in a corporate hospital, and that is costing a lot of money. Any single machine they have to keep, and every machine comes with a cost. Keep a check on unethical practice. That is also true. They have to reduce the running cost so that they can compare with themselves with the other corporate hospitals. Plus, at the same time, they should show the revenue is being generated to the senior management or trust boards. And they have to maintain their reputations at the end. लोग सोचते हैं मैं मुंबई जाके आराम से समुद्र किनारे बैठ के सिगार पीता रहता हूँ, ऐसा नहीं है। क्या बचा है मेरे पास? खाली गिनती के 2 पेयर ऑफ स्टफ सूट, एक आज धुलता हूँ, सूखा तो कल वही पहना, नहीं तो दूसरा वाला पहनता हूँ। घर भी तो लेना है। पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट से चलता हूँ, बिना गाड़ी के रहता हूँ, बिना जो है अपने घर पे रहता हूँ, रेंट पे रहता हूँ, ठीक है, चल रहा है, मुंबई में रहता हूँ। So it is not easy to survive in a corporate world in a metro city. Everything has their own plus and minuses. अभी किसी ने कहा था, सर रणजीत सर ने भी कहा और बाकी लोगों ने भी कहा, more efficiency gives you more responsibility and more work. Agree. If you are efficient, more work will come. More work will generate more revenue, more money. But at the end of the day, will you be able to use or spend that money? No. That is also hard truth. आप जितना भी कमा रहे अपने जीवन में कभी अपने ऊपर खर्चा नहीं कर सकते हैं, उसका 10% भी खर्चा नहीं कर सकते हैं at the end of your life. So work less, ज्यादा काम नहीं करना है. Corporate hospital will demand that you should work more, but you should not work more. You should work less. That much is sufficient to show them that you are working. Yes. ज्यादा काम करके क्या करना है? So give yourself and your family enough time so that they are also not felt neglected. Entry into a corporate hospital is very, very difficult. Whenever you guys, everyone said कि general surgery department join करना पड़ा या कुछ शेयर करना पड़ा. Degrees matter. Agree. In corporate hospital, degrees matter because nowadays patients come, patients search their doctors, they know each and everything about their doctors and then come. So degrees matter. If they see doctor is a MCH, it really matters. काम बोलता है. Previous work really speaks. Whatever is your quality of surgery, whatever is your quality of dealing with others, really speaks. And it is true. If you are good in communication skills, if you are good at your surgical skills, work will always be generated. Wherever you are, whether you are in corporate practice, whether you are in government, whether you are in semi-government, whatever it is. Reputation in medical fraternity is very important. If your other colleague doctors are happy with you, they will keep on referring patients with you. Your personal name and fame also matters, because corporate hospitals want some star doctors who should be their attachment, through which they can earn more patients. Resistance for endocrine surgeons, as everyone has discussed, too many. But okay. General surgeons, ENT surgeons, see, general surgeons are born thyroid surgeons from the day one. ENT surgeons, onco surgeons, head and neck surgeons, everyone feels threatened, everyone feels inferior from endocrine surgeons. But I don't care, I don't give a damn actually. Any person who thinks about others, that means he is feeling inferior. Why should I discuss about them? I do my own work, I do my own practice, that's all. बाकी दुनिया क्या करती है, मुझे क्या करना? Everyone has their own practice. If I do good work, my work will be generated. Never go down. I am in Mumbai. Mumbai is a hub of head and neck surgery in India. Maximum number of head and neck surgeons, maximum number of thyroid surgeons, and this and that surgeons you will find in Mumbai. But I never go down. Everyone said, how will you survive? Even my well-wishers, my senior colleagues, they said कि thyroid surgery हम भी करते हैं, तुम भी करते हो, क्या अंतर है? मैंने कहा सर, don't worry, काम बोलता है, काम बोला, आज भी बोल रहा है. So never go down. And this is a tip to all the youngsters. Wherever you go, just keep on focusing your own work. Show the world you are doing some good work. And never be afraid of anyone. Never be afraid of anyone, whosoever it is. Any person, whosoever is senior, but if they have committed some mischief or shown this, this is the way, tell them the correct way. I am very lucky to have been trained at SGPGI, and this I tell my residents persistently with whom I am operating. One word I always use, that my teachers were phenomenal surgeons, and it is absolutely true. They have shown me the art of thyroid surgery, the way that they have the medical way of dissection, it really matters. Whenever I operate, the whole institute sees कैसे मैं operate करता हूँ. Even the CEO, he tells to other colleagues, whenever Ritesh operates, मक्खन के जैसा thyroid निकलता है. These words matter because I have been trained at SGPGI. Proper diagnostic workup. This one thing that has been trained to me by SGPGI, it really matters. When patient comes to me, simple report CBC and SGPT and creatinine, etc. But when I do a thorough proper workup, it matters because that ultimately proves whether the surgery should be done or not and in what manner. So this thing is very important, and people at SGPGI or other institutes where endocrine surgery is training is there, they are lucky to learn this art of proper diagnostic workup. Academic acumen and surgical skills and communication skills all are very important whenever I am dealing with the patient. Patient has already gone to many places. So many surgeons, they have already, because surgery is not a simple thing for private patients. It is different than government setup, where patient has to come to that government hospital only. In private practice, it is not. They can go to any XYZ hospital, any XYZ surgeon. Yes, communication skills are important and surgical skills are equally important. I sit with the patient. Professor Mishra has taught me this thing. Just sit with the patient, just listen to them peacefully, listen to them calmly, whatever they say. Gaurav is there. I was discussing with Gaurav only that students should learn the way of talking. Have you seen how he speaks in the OPD with the patients? Learn the way of talking. It's really important in private practice. Be soft, be considerate. Patient should understand that yes, they are at the ultimate place, no one is above you. And when they have understood, then patient is yours only. They will not go to anywhere else. I have so many corporate hospitals. Leelavati, Bombay Hospital, Sathi. Everywhere I am generating work, and my work is my own work. Very less work given to me by institute, but I have a huge referral practice across India and the world. I have so many international patients, no issues. So every hospital wants that I should operate there because revenue will be generated, and corporate hospitals are money driven. So do good work will be generated automatically. Benefits of corporate attachment. The most important is recognition. If I am standing here, it's because of my corporate attachment only. If someone from SGPGI, if he or she would have been in MSKCC, They should have been standing here instead of my place. So corporate hospitals give recognition also. That is very important to the patient with the fellow colleagues. Yeah, वो बड़े hospital में हैं, तो अच्छे doctor होंगे. This matters. Build up your practice by communication skills, your knowledge, surgical skills. Keep on updating your knowledge. Always keep on going to conferences and CMEs, especially of your fraternity. It's very important. I always upgrade myself. I keep on going to conferences. I don't, very few IAS con or AC con I have missed in the past 10 years. So I request all of you to please keep on attending conferences. कुछ ना कुछ सीखने को जरूर मिलता है. Avoid medical jousting. कभी भी किसी डॉक्टर के लिए कोई बुरा शब्द नहीं बोलना, चाहे वो कितना भी कुछ उसने बोला हो. Never, never, never. It will always go against you in the corporate practice. Never, always avoid medical jousting. Expectations of patients are huge, as I already told. No one wants surgery. Ashwini, in corporate practice or in private practice, there's a huge list of litigations that can come against you. How can you avoid them and how to safeguard yourself?
In the present era with Google and ChatGPT, before the patient enters your chamber, they read up everything about you and read up everything about the disease. So they actually know more things.
Just 2 or 3 minutes more.
So the main thing is, when you are in practice, consider every patient as a potential litigant. Be very, very careful. Most importantly, where we go wrong, documentation and communication. And one more thing is, renew your medical registration with your local bodies periodically. Don't forget. By chance, many times it happens, please be very careful with renewal. Documentation and communication. Documentation, we all know. Communication skills, it is not only you, it is your whole team. The main surgeon, assistant surgeon, the nursing staff, the anesthetist, the duty doctor, everybody should communicate well. Anywhere there is a lapse, finally will be held responsible. And most important, medical indemnity policy. However careful you are, one day or the other you land up in trouble, so have this at the time.
I agree, actually. Thank you so much for such a nice answer. In this hall, how many are aware of this indemnity policy? And how many have taken? Only private practitioners. See, I request all of you to take indemnity policy note, because nowadays the consumer court has granted decisions against the government doctors also. So every person, every single doctor should take indemnity policy, and to a very good amount. It is very important. Indemnity policy protects against litigations. The terms and conditions differ from policy to policy. Everyone should have a minimum 1 crore of policy, minimum. As time progresses, litigation amount will also increase. And courts are also having the habit of awarding compensations in many, many crores. ये उनकी हैबिट बन गई है, जितना ज्यादा करोड़ का कंपनसेशन नहीं उतना बड़ा जज होगा. So safeguard yourself also, that is very important. Medical insurance किसने नहीं लिया है? If you are in government sector even and you think that everything will be free for you, I am sorry, boss. After retirement, problems arise, and we do not know at which part of world we are when we really need a medical help. So medical insurance is a must for all. Everyone should take it. Even if someone works in an extremely good hospital with all medical facilities, I get free facility everywhere across Mumbai, but I have my own medical insurance of good amount. So take a minimum 10 lakhs medical insurance and super top up till 1 crore, so that you should not be dependent on any hospital for yourself or your family related medical issues. So Om Prakash, at this point of time, I would like to ask you, we are practicing endocrine and breast. What problems you are seeing in breast setup in a corporate hospital?
Starting endocrine and breast practice in corporate setup is challenging. What is challenging for me initially, but now it's become some easy. Now more patients are being admitted. Initially, I was advertising as a breast cancer surgeon, but by the time I realized that we should focus on some medical, this hormonal issues also of the breast, because there are so many hormonal issues. Most of the ladies suffering from mastalgia, thyroidnosis, thyroidnoma, they are going to gynecologist, general surgeons. Most of them are not satisfied with the gynecologist or general surgeon. So I started advertising this hormonal issues of the breast, and I see that my patients increases very much by this focus. So many times I see in group many young surgeons discussing that going in private practice, there is so many problems with this breast. Onco surgeons don't consider as a breast cancer surgeon. So my advice is start focusing on this medical hormonal changes on breast and this mastalgia, thyroidnoma, thyroidnosis. By doing this, you will get so many patients, and by that patient, you can see some cancer patients also. There are so many patients who come with breast lump, and after investigating, after analyzing, you will get that it is cancer. So you will not you don't have to run for cancer patients. You generate cancer patients from them also.
It's a very good thing. See, thyroid and breast both are things where your medical practice will be more than a surgical practice. So you should learn medical practice of thyroid also, especially for the newcomers, if you want to survive in private practice. And from your medical practice, you can generate the surgical work. So thank you so much for such a pleasant and nice hearing, and thanks Anjali ma'am again.
But we should hear from Naval, Sunil and Dipendra as well.
Yeah, please.
So Naval, I think you have also established a very good practice.
Yes, ma'am.
So some tips for our youngsters, and you can add on whatever Ritesh has already.
Like over the Baser is settled in Bombay, which is a big city. I am settled in Chandigarh, which is a relatively smaller city. In a smaller city, there is lots of corporate culture and multi-specialty hospitals. But in tier 2 cities, I'll say stick to one center. It will earn you more recognition as well as more family time, and at the end you will have a good number of patients. But in a tier 2 cities, I see sticking to one hospital will earn better in a longer time.
So Sunil, I think you have been attached to quite a few number of corporates, so your experience.
So I think no, I can agree with Noah in one aspect, but the thing is, if you're with a very expensive corporate hospital, you'll be losing out on many patients who you would want to operate on. So I think you can maybe keep one large hospital, corporate hospital, and maybe a smaller hospital, which is more cost effective for the patient. And I think most of the things have already, like hats off to Ritesh for like operating in so many hospitals and doing so well. But how do you manage time?
That is good one.
You have a clone, or how do you manage?
Unfortunately, मेरी कोई branch नहीं है, ना ही मेरे को clone है. But despite of so many attachments, I go to only one place a day. घर से निकलता हूँ only one hospital I have to take, which I have scheduled for operations as well as appointments. That's all.
Take only breakfast and dinner. He never takes lunch. Depends.
Thank you, ma'am. Just started my practice in 2012 in Jaipur, and first I joined Fortis Hospital on a full-time basis. And when I dropped full-time job and just started on visiting basis, at that time, in a month, we have almost 30 to 40 thyroid surgery and almost 10 to 15 parathyroid in a month. And it's all because in whole Rajasthan, yes, I'm alone endocrine surgeon, and there is almost 35 to 40 endocrinologists in whole of Rajasthan. And everybody knows and they refer especially parathyroid patients. And I'm fortunate who have almost 250 to 300 all kind of parathyroid surgery, complex parathyroid surgery, and on individual basis. But because of joined 3-4 hospitals and going to Jaipur just because of because they're not emergency surgery and for 4-5 days in a month. And majority of time I'm there in Gonda. And just one thing regarding this general surgery and endocrine surgery, because there are a lot of medical colleges are there in every district. And Gonda also they started medical college. I just applied there also. And if I got opportunity, I will join the general surgery department because in a tier 3 city like Gonda, working there, you cannot alone practice endocrine surgery. And there I am doing a lot of breast and thyroid surgery. And one parathyroid I got where I diagnosed and updated there. And but lot of general surgery I am doing and laparoscopic surgery I am doing. And I am lucky. Many of our senior anesthetists and physician and doctors in Jaipur, they call me because their relative or parathyroid and thyroid surgery given to them. Thank you.
So thank you all. Thank you, Ritesh. And I think message is that each city and each situation has its own challenges and we have to somehow adapt to them. And you heard from your seniors. Thank you.
Mukta ma'am wants to do one comment, please.
In corporate, always keep the phone, ask the patient to keep the phone. Because whatever you will be doing nowadays, what they are doing, they are recording your, they are sending it to the other person. So they will send the same recording to everywhere. So always tell the patient, I know that you are recording. So please don't record, otherwise you will not get the right treatment from me. So that is one very important nowadays. It is very common now. They will send you recording to 10 different surgeons. Whatever you are telling is right or not. So sometimes you may be right, sometimes the other person may not be right. So it's like that.
Thank you all.
Our next session will be on solo initiative. Calling to the dais, the chairpersons for the session will be Dr. Abhishek Krishna.
The chairperson for the session are Dr. Nikhil Singh and Dr. Sudhi Adwal. And discussion would be Dr. Abhishek Krishna, Dr. Navneet Tripathi, and Dr. Aruman and Dr. Rashid. So Nikhil, we should congratulate Nikhil, our own alumnus, who has recently been elected Vice President of UPASI. And Dr. Sudhi, I think she also needs no introduction. So moving ahead, we have got some tips how to survive in corporate world, but how to create your own hospital. We would hear from Chaitra. Over to you, Chaitra.
Good evening, everybody. So today's discussion, I've planned it in a way such that all the young endocrine surgeons who are, still yet to decide or probably decided a little bit, but not entirely happy with what they're doing right now. So that you guys can probably listen to this discussion and maybe take a decision on whether or not solo initiative is for you. I have divided the topic into 3 headings. So the first one is why? Why would someone want to go for a solo initiative? And we have a couple of questions, and I'm just going to ask the discussants about what their feelings are regarding solo initiative. First, I would like to know all the discussants on the dais. How many of you are currently running a solo practice? Sudhi ma'am is, Rashid is, right now. Everybody is, right? So everybody is currently running a solo initiative. That's great. Starting with Mukta ma'am. So at what phase in your career did you decide on going for a solo initiative?
I have been practicing now since 32 years. Okay, for a long time I practiced in periphery, then in a medical college here I learned so many things, and then in a medical college, and then around 15 years back we came to Delhi in a corporate, in a surgical oncology setup in Kotak. After that, in 2014, I left that practice from Fortis Hospital. I started one not-for-profit company, which was mainly for the poor patients, for endocrine and cancer, general cancer, and not only for this, but many other issues, for disaster relief, and other for society related. So it's a more of a charitable work. And gradually I started it because many times I saw that many parathyroid patients were coming to me. Many patients were coming to me because they were not getting in hospitals any time or something, and they were having fractures and all those, and they were not able to get the treatment in corporate. We had hands tied up.
So basically, you've been running your solo initiative for the past 15 years?
No. Since 2014.
Since 2014.
I left the whole job. I am now a founder and director of a not-for-profit company. And along with that, I am doing my normal visiting consultancy in multiple hospitals.
Okay. So how long did you run this solo initiative, ma'am, initially? Now you're in a foundation?
2000, it's now almost 9 years.
9 years. Okay. Rashid, so at what phase did you decide that you wanted to go for a solo initiative? Was it pre-SGPGI? Did you have any idea before that, or was it after you finished your MCH? How long after you finished your MCH?
I just after finishing my MCH, I talked to my first writing. So basically, I thought that I would talk to one senior who is always persistent and practice all the time. At that time, we have to decide which way we go. So I called my one senior waiting for my practice. I did what last night. He told me that how 175 at the end. And he has to see when we said I have
Okay, so I just want to keep the discussion in brief, because I am going to ask you questions about why you have taken this. So just a brief answer. Yeah. So did you start this practice almost immediately after you came out of? Yeah. And Sudhi ma'am, what about you?
So Chitra, it's a very interesting question, and people must know about it. If you can give me just a couple of questions, my whole story. So most probably we inspire most of the female surgeons there, and probably it will give a way to how to handle the things if they are either under training right now or they are needing. So friends, as you know, I'm Dr. Sudhi Agarwal Kampush. I'm the consultant in Sept, Department of Breast and Endocrine Surgery in a corporate hospital. So my journey started from 2012 April when I just left the SGPGIMS. I never thought of doing private practice in my life. Never. I always thought of joining an academic institute. I never thought that my personality is like that. I'm pursuing patient for money and to operate, because surgery was my passion. So I joined Bharati Medical College. My husband joined he started as a private practitioner. I joined Bharati Medical College as an assistant professor in 2012. So gradually the story changed. That institute was very far away from my place. We started from scratch. We didn't have any money with us to we were in a rented house, some cheap furniture that we bought that time to sustain ourselves. And I had two challenges with me. First of all, as an endocrine surgeon, nobody knew what is endocrine surgery. Few of the consultants those who were practicing passed out from SGPGIMS. They had some knowledge, okay, there was an endocrine surgery, okay, you are from endocrine surgery, but no one knew about it. So, Merit was that phase, no one knew about it. Secondly, my second challenge that I was a female surgeon. So I was the only female surgeon at that time. So nobody in Western Uttar Pradesh still they didn't have that mindset of accepting a female surgeon. So with these two challenges, I started my journey as an assistant professor in Department of General Surgery at Bharati Medical College. Initially, they took me very casually. My breakthrough started when I first operated a locally advanced papillary thyroid cancer. All thanks to my teachers training to me. I was 5 to 6 months pregnant with my second child, and we did 9 hours continuous job. In between, the assistant took some refreshment, other things. I continuously operated, and we successfully operated that patient in 2012, and that patient is still doing good after 12 years of surgery. So that surgery was something which made me remarkable. Those who were initially neglecting me, they started now preaching. So that change, something happened. But the problem was that that institute was very far away from my place. I had a small clinic. My husband was, I usually sit for 1 to 2 hours.
Which year was this, ma'am? The year
2012.
2000. You had a clinic back then itself, your own clinic.
I had a clinic.
So that is immediate post MCH then.
So I had two things. Like I was posted as I was an assistant professor as well as PhD, but my main orientation was at the medical college that time.
Okay.
But then I realized that more and more I am being involved in. I'm doing well enough. Started getting more and more requests. So most of my time was started getting spent in the medical college for no return. I was not getting more. I was not being paid more for more surgery, for more complex surgery. Secondly, my patients at my own clinic, they started calling kab aa rahe, and I was stuck in medical college. The second problem that I started having was my maternity issue. So what I then realized that it is very difficult for me to go that far away to the medical college. I took a long break. I said, okay, I am going on leave because of maternity issue. And then I started focusing on my clinic. In my clinic, initially I had 0 attendance of patients, but there were few important skills that I have learned from SGPGIMS, and I request you all, those who have access, please keep on doing that. Is the record keeping of the patient in the form of their name, addresses, phone numbers, as well as their surgical picture, the pre and the post-operative pictures, and their whole clinical details, because that helps you present what the work you are doing to the society, your medical community. So this thing helped me keep myself alive, struggling, surviving in that phase of the life. Because whatever the surgery that I was able to manage, I was showcasing them to the others. Okay, this is the surgery that we have done. So first parathyroid, we tried to publish in newspaper, something like German and all. So that thing we did.
So we'll move to Arumal, ma'am. Arumal, did you start your solo practice immediately after MCH, or did you initially work for a corporate setup or somebody else's practice? Solo practice is running your own clinic or running your own hospital, or maybe if it's a group practice, is something that you've initiated with other people.
Solo practice. Because whenever I came out from this space,
a solo can include your ENT wife also. That's okay.
Basically, whenever I came out of this space, as others were also mentioning, the opportunities are very less. Second thing.
We'll come to the reasons. We'll come to that's the next question. Okay.
So basically, solo means my definition is little bit different.
Okay.
Actually, Dr. Rajesh was mentioning earlier, making a brand, that means solo. Okay. If you are in a hospital,
We are talking about solo initiative rather than initiative.
See, whenever I go and practice somewhere, I can get patients through corporate hospital, I can get patients through PRs, everything. So for any initial of our juniors who are coming down, if you need a hospital to
no, that's what we don't. Yeah, we don't.
Most of the patients were
So there are two types. That's what I'm saying. You can have your own clinic.
See, I lost my friend. He committed suicide because he was doing so-called solo practice because he had a
taking such a big responsibility at initial phase, I don't think. That was my question. Second thing, solo practice can be done in different ways. So I decided to do solo practice because there was no, if I join a general surgery, they are not going to take my patient. If I join other specialty, I'm not going to get patient. So I started driving my.
So very quickly, Aramal, you have your own clinic, right? You have you operate elsewhere, but sometimes you operate elsewhere as well. You work elsewhere as well. You see patients elsewhere as well, but you do have your own clinic. That's what you told me in the afternoon. Yeah, you are running an OPD outpatient service, and how? And since okay, yeah. So it doesn't have to be entirely your investment. If you're getting in, a lot of us take loans and start this sort of thing. The loan can be from a bank, the loan can be from your relative, the loan can be from some other corporate institution who is not running things for you. So if they are running the thing, it becomes corporate. If you are running the show, then it becomes a solo initiative. So that's the difference.
And modern medicine, it's not about money also. Responsibility matters.
Yeah. So when did you start your outpatient practice? The one that you're doing on your own?
Maybe I started working with my registration as completed. That is almost 2 months from going out of the state.
Okay, so 2 months after. So 2 months after finishing training, Dr. Arumal has started his solo initiative. Navneet sir, what about you?
So I started working in a trust hospital run by Ramakrishna Mission, and from there I started my practice. Initially you can't work solo, frankly speaking, you can't do freelancing in practice. Just that period is gone. You need some setup, decent setup. And the next best thing for doctors is doctors to be owners of what we call as group practice. So we have to evolve gradually to be owners of setups in private setup. So that's what has inspired me, and I have my own patients, plus referrals from doctors, but you have to have a good setup. You can't work in small hospitals, you can't work in small clinics. Patient wants good facilities, you have to have all the PGES, all the insurances, plus you need backup. You have all the news going around these days. So in small setups, it won't be possible to survive. So my thing has been, I'm still continuing in the Ramakrishna Mission Hospital, and we have also started our own. A group of doctors have started an initiative here to start a hospital, and I'm not a partner of that setup. That group has all the big stalwarts of Lucknow, and I'm senior most in that group. So I'm learning from them also, and growing the practice.
So the reason why I asked this question is sometimes a while ago, Dr. Ramya, she asked me about how to start a clinic outside. So the experience that is shared here on this stage, it needs to be helpful for her and, our other junior colleagues and senior colleagues. Yeah, they're not.
Things are, the talk of the town is like,
Yeah.
hitting there.
Yeah, that I have actually another question. Yeah. So, so I think everybody has answered whether they are working elsewhere while running their solo practice. So everybody is. Sir is a moderator. So yeah, actually you are, sir. So I'll leave I'll leave.
I did my 3 years of senior residency in So when I started my practice, I was more of a general endocrine. So I went down, I knew I didn't have that much money to start treating somewhere. So I went to a good hospital, the hospital. I went to them and I asked them, I said, do you have any surgeon who comes to you on the evening? So they said, no. So I sit there and I'll give you OPD and I'll get my patients to the state and I'll operate. They said, we won't be able to give you any patient because a very senior surgeon is come in the morning. And pretty people, very renowned. So we can't give you any patient. I said, that's okay. Just give me a place to sit. So I have a place to sit. And that is how slowly and slowly I started getting patients. And then my solo practice now is more on the phone. All my patients call me, it's been a lot of years now. So they call me over the phone, and I generally have only at 2 hospitals. One hospital, I give them 50% of my patients, they give me 50%. That's a mission
missionary hospital, General Hospital. And the second one, I have taken another hospital where I sit in the evening and I use their services. I mean, their place, and I give them my place.
So the third question is whether corporate setups, whether the structure or competition in corporate setups has positively or negatively affected you in taking a decision to start a solo initiative. Can we just have a raise of hands? How many of you felt that the structure and competition in corporate setup has, positively affected your decision in taking a solo initiative? As in, you worked in a corporate setup and you felt that you built up enough practice over the years and you felt confident enough to start your own setup. So how many of you think that's the case for you? So that's the case with Navneet sir and Nikhil sir and Mukti ma'am. Yeah. Okay, and the next question is whether the structure and competition has negatively affected. So how many of you think that, getting a corporate job was very difficult and you had almost no alternative but to start a solo initiative? So anybody?
What I think, it depends on the individual preferences. So a person like me would not like to work under someone. I am more happy doing everything of my sort, putting all the effort. So like if someday I don't sit in my OPD, I have zero income on that day. So it happens. But at least I'm not answerable to someone. So this corporate, I still think if I get a chance to work in a corporate under someone, so at least I would, even if I have to work, I will just work to learn the strategies from them, how to build my own setup, rather than for a long time working under them. So it depends on person to person preferences.
Anybody who is currently working in the corporate sector who is more inclined to starting the solo initiative because of the current structure? So Dr. Ramya, just because you're not entirely happy with the corporate setup. Okay, just speak. Forget about the mic. You're audible. Mm-hmm.
I can realize that you have some value in corporate unfortunately, patients are clients in corporate companies. So to build our own clientele, to show the corporate that the patients are coming for you, you have to have your own shape.
Anywhere the patient pays, they're a client. I would say that, not just corporate or solo. Yeah. Please pass the mic to the back. Dr. Kalaji.
Today, the trend is, it doesn't matter which hospital you're working. It's all about PR work. It's all the Instagram reels and the Facebook thing and the YouTube videos with you. That is what is meant. Playing a big role, even if you're doing solo practice or attached to a corporate setup, every place has its plus and minus. Everything is PR work. The NFC says don't do PR work, but everyone is doing PR work. That is the only niche now to pick up the practice. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a big fact.
I disagree with that. PR was made get few patients free. I started doing PR work in the very first day.
So PR doesn't essentially mean what?
PR was in the sense we are branding ourselves, marketing ourselves. So that I did in the very first day. But I don't think I got much patient on the initial fee due to PR work. Initially, peers were sending, friends were sending. Still now, till date, definitely patient to patient month and quality only in the patient. But only one thing is like patient wants to see you like an elephant with all the ornaments. So you should be in that way, like you should have all the ornaments and get ready for that. So definitely they will have first of all look at your result, second thing, and your celebrity.
That takes time.
Yeah.
That takes time.
So we have less than 5 minutes and I have at least 10 more questions. So we'll just quickly go through what are the other questions that come into one's mind, and probably the ones that, the people who are currently not in solo practice but are thinking about it, you guys can raise your hand and suggest whether we should discuss that question or not. So has personal life played a role in taking the decision? So here, instead of asking the panel, I will say an example of myself that it had to, because I was in a smaller city and my husband was working there and he was not willing to move to a bigger city. And the one or two corporate hospitals over there, the management was very keen on taking me, but the surgical oncology and the medical oncology departments weren't, because the list of surgeries that I was able to do as a breast surgeon was nowhere near the list of surgeries that was being done over there in that hospital. So all of these politics do play a role, and all of that has already been discussed in the session about endocrine surgeon in a surgical oncology setup. So you have a lot of disadvantages when you're dealing with people from other specialties who don't want you there. So coming to the preparation. So what's the time frame relative to leaving? So already Madam has answered this question. I think everybody on the panel has answered this question. The time frame relative to leaving from SGPGIMS when they've started their solo practice. And they've also spoken about their post SGPGIMS training and work experience in relation to starting their solo initiative. I myself have worked for 2 years in the UK before coming back to India and starting the practice. So I passed out in 2018 and I've started my solo practice in 2021 October. So it's sort of like 3 years post MCH. That's when I started. And that work experience, I do believe that some amount of work experience, any work experience helps you. Any kind of experience, whether it be corporate or whether it be working in a different government institution. So all of these work experiences you take from not just your alma mater SGPGI, but you can also take from wherever you're working. You take both the good and the bad. So you exclude the bad from your practice and take the good points and try to incorporate that. And this question to, let's see, Sudhi ma'am, most significant difficulty you faced in preparing to set up a solo initiative?
Which is the most important. First of all, I just want to add 2 points. Is there any experience? So just for the sake of all the juniors, try to take whatsoever training you want to take before you start your solo initiative, because it takes a lot of hard work in setting up your needs. And once the patient started coming to you, it is very difficult, then you go and take a long leave and do some training. So finish all your training, all your experience, try to finish everything before you start your solo practice. The difficulty that we face is the recognition, because until unless you are recognized by your work, no, surgery is a big deal. So for the referral also, referee is the one who is referring the patient to you, as well as for the patient also. So huge trust has to be built. For that, you need to meet them again and again, show them your work through different portals, so that they understand that they are at the right place and you are the right person to operate them. So your recognition is very important. For that, you need to meet initially face-to-face personally to all the recognized, already established clinicians in your area. You have to find out who are those. Try to meet them personally and build relationships, build connection with them. So this is something you need to. Of course, finances are always an issue, because initially there will be more drainage than your income. So that you have to be patient about. Don't worry about. Try to keep a good quality staff and try to make your patient always happy and always take feedback from your happy patient. It will help you in the long run. Gradually, after your struggling phase, the stability phase will start, and then your success will start. And that success then will depend on your effort.
So I'll quickly mention about the financial aspects. So for someone to run a clinic is going to be much cheaper for someone to run a hospital. So if you are running a hospital, for a single specialty, it's going to drain a lot of money. Whereas a clinic, it's just a room and maybe an outpatient procedure room that you would require. And you would take your patient to another hospital that you're affiliated with. and you operate the patient over there. So that's one kind of solo practice that people do. Whereas if, like me, you have your own setup where you operate there. Initially, if it's your own building, obviously it's going to cost a lot. And if you're renting it out, I would say in a mid-sized city, to have a proper, maybe 10-bedded hospital with a proper theater setup and an outpatient setup and imaging. If you need floor space for all of that, I think I would say the rent would be anywhere between 2 to 3 lakhs. So that is what you will need to generate in 1 month if you are paying rent. If it's your own building, that's a different issue. You don't need to pay rent. And for your staff, even if you take the bare minimum least amount of staff, you would need a couple of outpatient nurses, you need a couple of IP nurses, night duty nurses, you would need some male staff as well, PR people, this and that. So even that cost also comes up to around 1 lakh or 2 lakhs, depending on how many people you take. But I think if it's a clinic, you can run it with 1 nurse, 1 receptionist, and if you need a third person, then so be it, somebody to clean and all the cleaning personnel and all of that. So those are the kind of costs you're looking at. And if you're looking to purchasing ultrasound scan or something like that, ultrasound scans, the initial starting price starts at around 10 lakhs and goes up to 50 or even more than that. But for a breast surgeon, I would say something, a mid-range ultrasound scan should be sufficient. Anybody wants to know the costs of establishing anything else? Anybody who's interested in knowing? If nobody's interested in the cost, we can skip this.
I think we can discuss it over a very informal discussion.
Okay, so this was actually supposed to be the last slide. So everybody has already described their solo initiative and what they're running there. Most of them have their own clinics, but working elsewhere for surgeries. That's